wide open to hundreds of thousands of Eastern Europeans coming and taking low-paid work. Now, it's a brilliant thing that the tax threshold has been risen to £10,500 for people in low-paid work.
All right, so thank you. Just to repeat, what Mr. Connolly is saying is there are hundreds of thousands of Eastern Europeans coming here. They take low-paid jobs. The tax threshold is not enough. Where is the benefit? We must start with you first, Mr. Clegg.
Clearly, the point that you're referring to, John, is incredibly important. And it's a very emotive issue, this, about people coming in and out of our country. And indeed, of course, many Brits, about 1.5 million Brits who live elsewhere in the European Union. And we've got to get the rules right. That's why the government, this government, has significantly tightened up the rules. That's why, for instance, I want to restore exit checks at our border so we count people out as well as we count them in. People can't just come here to claim benefits, for instance. Yes, come if you want to try and work. Come if you're really going to make a contribution, if you're going to play by the rules, but you can't simply receive benefits, no questions asked the first day. That's why we've changed the rules. But let's remember, of all the new jobs created over the last year or two, 9 out of 10 of those new jobs have gone to British workers. Let's remember that actually people who come to our country, they create wealth, they pay taxes, they help sustain our NHS. If we were simply to pull up our drawbridge, we would destroy jobs for everybody in this country. And that is not something I'm prepared to see happen.
All right, we'll come to you in a second. Thank you. Nigel Farage.
Well, I love it. Nick says he wants to get the rules right. Let me tell you what the rules are, Nick. The rules are we're members of a European Union which has total free movement of goods, capital, services and people. And that may have been okay when we were in with countries, like the Netherlands and France and Germany with roughly similar living standards and hospitals and primary schools. What we've done is we've let in countries that were trapped behind the Iron Curtain for years. Romania, for example, where the minimum wage is 1/9 of what it is in this country. And we have a total open door, unconditionally, to 485 million people, and they are the rules of the European Union, and you cannot be allowed to get away with saying you want to get the rules right by putting in these weasel words about benefits. This gentleman who's asked the question, John, he's not talking about benefits, he's talking about the fact that for hundreds of thousands of people working in trades like the building industry,
5 seconds, Mr.
we've had a massive oversupply of labour, and you've seen your wages go down over the last 10 years as the cost of living has gone up, and that is not fair on working people in this country.
Mr. Clegg actively shaking his head. Mr. Clegg.
I understand, John, as I say. This is an issue which creates great anxiety. People are unsettled by the whole immigration. I understand that. But we have to have this debate on the basis of facts. And what you've just heard from Nigel Farage is simply not true. I've got here a leaflet from Nigel Farage. Can I just finish the point? This is a leaflet that Nigel Farage's party distributed in the recent Eastleigh by-election. You may remember it. It says here that 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians may come to this country. There aren't even 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians living in Romania and Bulgaria. It is simply not true. So, let's have this debate, John, but let's have it based on fact. Let me give you one more fact. 1 out of 7 of every new company created in this country are created by people who come here, pay their taxes, play by the rules. If we pulled up the drawbridge overnight, as Nigel Farage implies, our NHS would collapse overnight. Yes, let's make sure that we bear down on unscrupulous employers who, for instance, don't pay the minimum wage. That's why this government has quadrupled the penalties we're going to impose upon unscrupulous employers. Let's bear down on the loopholes. Let's make sure people do play by the rules, but let's not scare people by claiming things that are not true, which would have the consequence of making us poorer and putting more people out of work. That surely cannot be right.
You didn't answer the question, did you? You didn't answer the question. You tried to do trickery with the 29 million, saying there aren't 29. You know why? Because 2 million have left already, and they've gone to Italy and to Spain. Nick, you didn't answer the basic question. I'm not claiming 29 million people have the right to come to Britain.
Yes, you do.
I'm claiming 485 million people have the total unconditional right to come to this country if they want to. And I think you're quite right. You're quite right. The fact is, if we're members of the European Union, we have the complete free flow of people. Are you denying that?
Yes, it is not unqualified.
You are denying
it is
that.
not the case that anyone can move to this country and simply claim benefits, simply
Didn't
live
mention
here.
benefits.
You
keep doing benefits. We're talking about the free movement of people and the ability in John's industry to get a job.
Let's let the Deputy Prime Minister speak.
Once again, I think what you're owed are the facts. Not simply a lot of, opinion. You're owed the facts.
No opinion here, it's facts.
Since 2004, about 2 million people from elsewhere in the European Union have come to our country. About half of them have returned. At the same time, there are 1.5 million Brits who live elsewhere in the European Union. So really the question is I think Nigel Farage needs to provide you with an answer. If we do pull the drawbridge up, we simply say, no one else allowed, put up that sign at the cliffs of Dover. What happens to the 1.5 million Brits who are elsewhere? What happens to the businesses? What happens to the British jobs that are dependent on people coming to this country? And don't just believe me. Listen to the people who employ thousands upon thousands of British citizens in this country who say that if we turn into a closed country rather than an open one, we will be poorer and we will have higher unemployment. And I'm not prepared to see anyone lose their job on the altar of Nigel Farage's anti-European dogma.
All right, gentlemen, just pause for a moment. Thank you.